Hey everyone, so I wanted to give a quick tour of my little hometown here in Mangawhai Heads, New Zealand. As you know, I normally live here in Connecticut in the US. So this week I travelled across the country to Los Angeles, where I then could have caught an Air New Zealand flight, which is about 12 hours down the Pacific Ocean here down to New Zealand. All the way down here. Now, little New Zealand, as you can see next to Australia, it's made up of 2 islands, and perhaps it's not as little as people think it is. It is definitely an island nation, and it feels like an island nation when I'm here. But New Zealand is actually about 100,000 miles of land, which is a little larger than, say, Great Britain, which is 80,000 miles. So not as small as some people think. It's just under 5 million people that live here, with the bulk of those living in the North Island, the 3 largest cities, Auckland, Hamilton and Wellington in the North Island, with one large city, Christchurch, in the South Island. However, the South Island is pretty awesome. This is where, if you're a tourist, you want to come. It's where all the great sights are, the mountain ranges, all the cool places. Queenstown is just a fantastic place to visit. There's just a million ways to kill yourself down there. Of course, the beautiful Milford Sounds and all of the glaciers and so forth, all up the west coast here. But I'll do a video on tourism in New Zealand another day. Today we're focusing on my little hometown where I grew up. It's a little town up here between the cities of Auckland, which is New Zealand's largest city, and Whangarei, which is the northern city. And my little town is called Mangawhai Heads, or Mangawhai, and it was originally settled. In fact, I'm a descendant of one of the original settling families, the Wintle family, which is one of the 4 or 5 original settling families here. They settled in the mid-1800s, 1858 to 1860. And they put in the original sort of mud track that went back to the Kaiwaka here, and then they put roads down to Auckland. So yeah, my grandmother was a Wintle, and my family's had farmland here for about 150 years. Let me switch to satellite view here. This is Mangawhai Heads, and it's famous for its surf beach here. I'll show you from the drone here. On the left-hand side there, you can see the surf club. I was a member of the surf club when I was younger, and we used to have to swim around that big rock there that you saw at the beginning. But yes, this is why people come to Mangawhai, is to be at the surf beach, or to do other activities within the estuary here. A lot of people like sailing or taking their jet skis or water skiing within the harbour here. It's a very beautiful place, very popular seaside resort. But during most of the year, the population is around 2,000 people. When I was growing up, the population was under 1,000. In fact, the population was so small when I was growing up that the telephone numbers only had 3 digits. That is, my parents' house their phone number was 729. So it was very easy to remember everyone's phone numbers because there were only 3 digits. But now there's a permanent population around 2,000 people. And during the summer, that can expand to 50 or 60,000 people as people come up from the city and stay in their holiday homes. But where did I originally grow up? Well, you can easily see where my family farm was. It's around here. See all these shelter belts here? This is what my father did. He grew avocados, and this is all of his avocado orchard here up on Tara Road. So that's what I did. A lot of my childhood was working on my father's avocado orchard. But this is the farm I grew up on, and here's a shot from the drone. It's a very beautiful place to grow up. I lived here until I was about 15 years old. My parents got divorced when I was 15, and my mother moved down to the seaside part of Mangawhai Heads, and my father stayed up here on the farm. So of course the first thing I do when I arrive up at my father's farm is try and pull out my old classic 80s BMW that I keep here. And it's kept in the shed here. So I'll roll in here and we'll see if we can get this started. Okay, the moment of truth is upon us. Get out the BMW keys, put the monkey on it. Here we go. Oh. maybe the battery's disconnected. One moment please, callers. Yes, the battery is disconnected. Okay, here we go. Oh, we have lights. It's alive! Smell the 80s. Glory be. Here we go. We are low on gas. Sunglasses on. Woo. Oh, watch out. Terrain vehicle. So next I'm going to drive my little car down here, down to the beach area at Mangawhai Heads. This is where my mother built a house. After my parents divorced, my brothers and sisters and I used to share time between my father and my mother. I used to mostly live down here with my mother during the week and with my father on the weekend. And she built a beautiful house down here, and she's got a beachfront property here. And we lived here from when I was about 15 onwards, and it was like a little motel. She had lots of little units she used to rent out, as well as other businesses. And what was special about this area is it was down here on the estuary, and if you look from the drone here, well, by the way, this is where my mum's building her new house right now, which should be finished in a year or so. I'll give you an update when she's done that. That'll be pretty neat. But if you swing down here, if you look down here, this is the little beachfront batch area that we used to come during the summer and camp down here. And my sister still brings her kids down here during the summer as well. And we'd have this, almost private beach to hang out on, and it was just a great place to grow up in the summer as kids. In fact, I nearly drowned out there one time. But we had little surfboards, and it was just a neat place to be as kids. So next I'm going to take you down here. This is the Mangawhai Heads shopping area. Lots of little reminders of my family down here. First of all, over here, the shopping centre was originally built by my mother and her sister. And over time she had various shops and so forth inside it. But if you look carefully over there, there's a takeaways called Stingray Mats, and that's a reference to my brother Matthew. He owned those takeaways for years, and even though it's changed hands several times then, the name still remains Stingray Mats. And if we swivel around here, you can see there's a restaurant and a little stationery shop. My mother originally owned both that restaurant and stationery shop for a while as well. And if we look over here, it's the general store, and this is a garage where you can refuel your car. And behind the garage is now a thing called the Opportunity Factory. And my father and my stepmom, in their retirement, helped run the Opportunity Factory, which is basically like Mangawhai Heads' version of Goodwill. People drop off their stuff. Oh, look at that old Charger there. New Zealand is a place where old cars come to die, that's for sure. You don't see too many of those anywhere else. But anyway, back to the Opportunity Shop. Mangawhai is a beachside community, so lots of people want things for their holiday homes, or batches as we call them here. So this is where people can drop stuff off, and the Opportunity Shop sells it. And pretty much most of the money, I think more than 3/4 of the money, just goes straight back into the community. It's a non-profit thing. My parents work here for free and run it all for free. So yeah, lots of junky kind of stuff, but one person's garbage is another person's treasure, as they say, and that's where it is. And of course, other little shops and so forth that I grew up with are still here. If you look carefully over there, you can see the mini golf. I used to play the mini golf there when I was a kid. But yes, this there's a lot of my family involved with every little thing around here, and this is where I used to spend my time growing up. And over here, next to my brother's takeaway shop, is the Mangawhai Volunteer Fire Brigade. I was a member of this for several years. I used to drive the truck, in fact. Good fun blowing the siren. I don't think we'd put out too many fires, but a lot of fun being part of the fire brigade. And over here is the Mangawhai Beach Primary School. This is where I first went to school. It's grades 1 to 8. And it's much the same as when I went to school. In fact, I started in that class and ended up in the class on the end here. They failed to educate me, just like everywhere else. It was a fun little school though. You know, I mostly went to school in bare feet. I look back at photos when I was at school, and back in those days we were little rabbles without any bare feet. I just want to walk over here and show you the swimming pool. The swimming pool was actually built there while I was at this school. So when I first started at the school, we had to swim in the ocean, which I'll show you next. But towards the final years at the school, we got to learn to swim in this little swimming pool over here. So we were very proud when this swimming pool opened. But let me show you where we started swimming. Yes, it was down here in the murky, muddy part of the estuary. The teacher used to bring us down to this rather inhospitable spot and take us down these stairs. There used to be a little railing that's rusted off there, and we used to be pushed into the ocean there and swim, little ones, swim. That was the most unpleasant experience, I have to tell you. I'm glad when they opened the swimming pool. It was much better. Learning to swim in this murky part of the estuary was no fun. So that's my quick tour of my little hometown of Mangawhai Heads here in New Zealand. Truly a beautiful and fun place to grow up. I have many fond memories of my childhood here. Yeah, good times. Always love coming back to visit, and I've got many members of my family and friends still live around here, so yeah, it's an awesome place to hang out. And I wish I could bring little Tui here because she'd love to go for a run along this beach, but New Zealand quarantine laws prevent me from bringing Tui to New Zealand, unfortunately. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video, and don't forget, we're going to have a meetup this Saturday in Auckland. I'll leave the details in the description below. Hope to see you guys that are in the Auckland area along at that. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks everyone. Bye then.